हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू आवर यूट्यूब चैनल। और आज का जो हम टॉपिक कवर करेंगे, हम कार्ल मार्क्स के बारे में बात करेंगे और उनकी क्या आइडियोलॉजीज थी और उन्हें स्टेट कैपिटलिज्म विमेन पे और काफ़ी सारे टॉपिक्स पर उन्होंने क्या बोला था और उनका क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा है मार्क्सिस्ट थ्योरी में। Before that, we have UPSC CSE assignment challenge on Indian polity, and exciting prizes will be given to the top three winners under Sir Atish Mathur. An Academy Aspire is providing you with the free all India free mock test for the civil servant aspirants of UPSC CSE prelims of 2021 under paper 1 JS, and it will be conducted on every 10th and 25th of every month, and you will win exciting prizes, scholarship for top 50 rank holders, and it will be conducted on 25th October at 10 a.m. sharp. So please mark this date on your calendar. Then why shouldn't you miss this test? First, that it will provide you your all India rank. Second, the test is curated by our expert educators to experience the actual UPSC CSE level. Third, we'll give you test analysis by top educators. Fourth, we have detailed performance report and competitive stats to know where you actually stand. Then fifth, we have winning exciting prizes and scholarship, and only live test takers. And the exam pattern is that the real exam, it will get you know about the real exam experience. You have general studies one, objective based, and we have 100 questions for 200 marks, and the duration is for 2 hours, and there will be negative marking also. So the win prizes we have and scholarship are up to like 5 lakhs. We have rank 1 to 3, we have UPSC CSE 6-month subscription. From rank 1 to 10 will also get a voucher for 10,000 rupees, and from 11 to 30 will get for 5,000, and from 31 to 50 will get for 3,000. The syllabus for JS paper is prelims paper 1. We have current affairs, events of national and international importance, that includes GK. We have history of India and the Indian national movement. We have Indian and world geography of physical, social, economic geography of India and the world. We have Indian polity and governance of constitution and political system of Panchayati Raj, and we have public policy rights issue and etc. We have economic and social development also under sustainable development, poverty inclusion and demographics, social sector initiatives and etc. We have general issues on environmental ecology, biodiversity and the climate change that does not require proper specialization. And along with that, we have general science also. So this will be your detailed analysis report, in which you will get to know about your total marks, correct, incorrect, unanswered, and your rank also. So we have like live slots, that is for that this will be your performance, and then we have like toppers. So we have a like a proper detailed analysis for your report. Then you can complete your preparation of UPSC CSE of 2020 or 21 under the free live classes and test on Unacademy, and you can click to know about more about it, and you can enroll now for free, and the link is there in the description. And we have an Academy UPSC CSE assignment challenge. So what do you need to do over here is that you can need to participate in an Academy UPSC assignment challenge, and we can watch the special classes that is listed below, and you can attempt the assignment or quiz, and class link is given in the description. We have like 3 performance in each of the class that can stand to win the prizes or vouchers, and you can enroll for the classes to get you notified. We have UPSC assignment challenge for the most important like topics of NCRTs by Aarti ma'am. We have assignment challenge on Indian history by Anuj sir. Then we have like Indian geography by Sudarshan sir, and we have art and culture by Dipanshu sir. So let's start our topic about Karl Marx. So as we know that the Karl Marx was a true like one of the great critics in the Western intellectual tradition, because like his ideas were exerted as a decisive influence all the aspect of human endeavors, and he transformed the study of history and society, and they played a very significantly that changed the anthropology, arts, cultural studies, history, law, literature, philosophy, political economy, political theory, and sociology by establishing a link between the economic and intellectual life. So, by he developing a very theory of parasis, that is the unity of thought and action, Marx brought about a sea change in the entire methodology of social sciences. First, that he was a very brilliant agitator and polemist, a profound economist, great sociologist, and an incomparable historian also. So Marx was the first thinker to bring the various strands of socialist thought into a very concurrent worldview and impassioned the doctrine of struggle. So he tried to like comprehend the major thrust of the Marx political philosophy that aimed towards a human liberation. So it is like noteworthy to take into account the significant shift that had occurred in the late 17th century, when there was a traditional analysis of political order that was based on scarcity that was replaced by a philosophy of abundance. Then Marx's doctoral dissertation was based on that the Marx was not just a direct disciple of Hegel, but he had interest in Hegelian doctrines that was stemmed from his encounter with the young Hegelians in the Doctors Club. So it was like during his discussion in the Doctors Club that the Marx got interested in the contemporary philosophy. And the young Hegelians were also very radical in their own outlook, and they were like Amphiorus group was there in Germany in 1830s, 40s, that consisted of Bruno, Karl Popper, Adolf also. So among this we have like Bruno, where that was influenced Marx the most. So initially the young Hegelians were interested in the to question about the religious, but with the with the accession to the Frederick William IV, we have the relaxation of the press censorship, that they renewed the political debates and the philosophy that could like also be that could also be like described as a very speculative rationalist, for they believed there was a continuous unfolding of the power of reason. So they professed a very deep admiration for the principle of the French Revolution, and they were like concerned with the individual for self-consciousness and its development, and the position in the similar was set out for the Epicureans, Pectives and Scotics in the post-Aristotelian philosophers, whom Marx was also like described as rich in spirit. So Marx like also like contended that the task of philosophical criticism was to basic like to expose the hindrances to the process of free development of human consciousness, the idea of human liberation that ran through the Marxist thought as a guiding force. So Marx contended that the human mind was very dynamic and capable of comprehending the external world. So he criticized that who argued that human beings were incapable of understanding the world around, and therefore he had to blindly accept whatever was the incognito to the phenomena. So Marx was basically attracted to the Epicurean philosophy for the spirit of freedom, independence of thought, and that it advocated. So by this time we can see that Marx began to perceive the transformative power of philosophy to change the human society. So philosophy was in progress that would also like cease to be pure theory, and it would be based on manifest itself on the practical activity. So Marx categorized the Epicures like as a very genuine, radical and enlightened in the mind of antiquity. In the contrast, we have Democritus, we have Epicures that provide a very energizing principle by introducing an element of spontaneity in the movement of atoms rather than regarding the nature of inanimate that was governed by the mechanical laws. So we have like two achievements that was there by Epicures according to Marx. So basically first on the that emphasized on the absolute autonomy of the human spirit and freeing the men from all sort of superstition that transcend into the objects. So there was like emphasis on the free individual and self consciousness, and they all these factors like played a very important role by providing the limits that was imposed on the total philosophy. Then it was also like a liberating aspect of Epicures and Marx that found out very endearing. So Marx tried to refute the critic from there, and he gave his own statement and began to formulate his own opposite conclusion of that. Now let's talk about the dialectics. So dialectics, as you know, was a very key idea in Hegelian philosophy. So we can see that though Engels was credited for this with its origin, which he led that everything is not and is not for everything is fluid. That is constantly changing, and it will keep on changing when it comes to being, and it will pass away. So all this plug has nothing still, but nothing endures but the change. So it was Hegel who actually like offered a very systematic exposition to this concept in the Hegelian philosophy and the dialects that apply to the process of the evolution and the development of history. So Hegel basically like viewed the history as very like progressive manifestation of human reason and the development of historical spirit, and the history was recorded by increasing the awareness and the great rationality as it was exhibited in the human affairs. So human consciousness and freedom was expanded basically on the basis of result that had a very conflicting intellectual forces, so which were also like constantly under tension. So Hegel believed that this was a movement for rudimentary state of affairs from being a very perfect form. So the process of history was basically marked by two caution. The first was there was the individual spirit which desired happiness, provided energy, and the world spirit which actually strive for the higher freedom that came into being with the knowledge of self. So he emphatically believed that without an individual pursuing his own goal, so whatever he might be is nothing to but achieve in history. So we can see, but to know about over here whether these actions are like conformity with the dialectic of the universe. So he was the cunning of the reason. He played its role by allowing to pass to run their full course. So Marx agreed with Hegel that there was like a constant movement in dialectic process, but it actually emphasized for the real rather than the ideal. So the social was rather than the intellect was basically matter rather than the mind. So for Marx, now the key idea was not just the history of philosophy, but the history of economic production and the social relations that were accompanied it. So he acknowledged the Hegel's great contribution, which was recognized the world history as a progress of constant motion, change, transformation, and a development, and to understand the internal connections between the movement and its development. So from Hegel, he also like learned from the various angles about the development process could not just be studied in isolation but in the relations with one another and with the process of a whole. Hegel also applied these dialectics to his realm of ideas. Now let's talk about the materialism. So as we know, the Marx like applied this dialectic method to his material and social world that consisted of the economic production and exchange. So a study of the productive process was explaining all the historical phenomena. So Marx basically noted that each generation inherited some kind of mass productive forces. That means an accumulation of capital, resource, and a set of social relationships that were basically reflected in the productive forces. So the new generation like modified all these forces, and at the same time these forces like prescribed like certain forms of life and that shaped the human character and thought in a very distinctive way. So the mode of production was basically based on the exchange of the all the final cause, so the social changes and political revolution which were meant for the minds of thoughts to change and the society would have to change. While the Hegel viewed basically that the national cultures were the driving force of history, for the Marx they were also like the social classes whose like antagonism basically supplied as a very motivative power for change. So both of them like regarded the historical course as a very rational necessity and consisting of a pattern of stages which were that each stage represented a step towards a determined goal. So both appealed like to the emotion above the self-interest. In case of Hegel, it was the national pride. For Marx, the loyalty among the workers were for a better future. So Marx was basically entrusted with the Darwin's theory of origin of species, which was subsequently like dismissed in the strictly like empirical generalization, offering a very um, causal theory of change which with no implied idea of progress. So Marx like in his analysis we can see of history basically mentioned the important role of ideology in perpetuating the false consciousness among the people and demarcating the stages which are basically necessary for reaching the goal of communism. So in that sense we can see the both bourgeois and the proletariat were performing their historical distinct roles. So we can see that over here, in spite of all the like determinist interpretation of history, the individual had to play a very important role within the historical limits of his time, and he was actually like has to provide the process. So Marx was like a revolutionary with a belief in philosophy of Parsis. So he like so he gave a implicit in his belief was the basically like underlying assumption of a law operating at the time which led to the Engels formulation of the dialectics of nature. So this alteration gave a very change a sense in the Marx method of arriving at a proper conclusion from a particular event or a happening, a general theory or framework determining even where there was small happening. So Marx like had a very like powerful moral content his analysis, and he started like asserted that process was just not merely inevitable but would be like usher in the perfect society for the free of alienation, exploitation, and deprivation. So all his like material conception of history basically emphasize upon the practical side of human activity rather than the speculative thought of moving the force of history. So in his famous like funeral oration speech also said, he said that Engels claimed that the Marx had the major discoveries and the law of development of the human history. So the law of capitalist development, and there was the law of capitalist development. Now let's talk about the economic determinism. So basically, Marx and Engels basically they developed a very materialistic conception of history, who explained the law of human development. So Engels over there basically like linked the ex- uh, enterprise to the Darwin's theory of evolution, and the underlying like assumption of the materialistic conception was basically the role played by the economic factors which were basically formed on the base. So everything else basically belonged to the superstructure which consisted of the state, the law, the government, art, culture, and philosophy. So right, Hegel, the Marx also saw history as very progressing towards to a definitive and inevitable goal. So in the sequence, we can see the world history like the England represented the unconscious tool of the history. The Marx also regarded the mode of production as a base, economic base, and had a real foundation of society. So the mode of production was consisted on the means and techniques of production, and the relationship that people entered into were basically with one another in the production of goods, services, and the economic base condition and determine their superstructure. So Marx materialism was referred not only to the matter but also to the economic and social relation. And he said that the material forces of production came into conflict with the relation of production, and he did not explain the proper nature of conflict other than alluding to the fact that it could be have been a moral one. So it was a moral for because it actually desired to create a very humane, decent society free exploitation, domination, and operation. Marx identified the five stages of economic development in the history. The first is the primitive communism, in which the man and women and the labor was performed by everyone. And the second was slavery, in which there was like masters and slaves. And then we had feudalism, in which we had feuds and serfs. Then we had capitalism, in which there was like when the machinery and the technology came, the laborers basically worked and they gave work to the capitalists. And we have the last stage of development is the communism. So we can see in the each stage except the final, there were the forces at the contradiction that made revolution very inevitable. So this given status quo would be with thesis with the conflict of symptomatic of the and antithesis, and the solution was basically form of synthesis. So the synthesis would in turn become the thesis, and the process continued in a till the perfect society was attained. So for Marx and Engels, we can see it was not just enough to like understand the general processes of history, but also like in a way to define the processes work themselves out in the present. So if like one desired to transform the world, then the correct diagnosis was the prevailing social condition was very necessary. So in the 19th century, we can see this meant like for a proper like understanding of the working of bourgeois society, a study of a sociology of capitalism, and the capitalism created an unavoidable suffering which ought to be replaced by socialism, and then there would come communism. So now let's talk about the class struggle and social change. So Marx like clearly articulated that the idea of human liberation is very distinct from the political emancipation, because it aimed towards a human liberation was to bring out the collective generic character of human life was very real, so that the society would have to like assume a very collective character and coincide with the life of a state. This would also be like possible if individuals were freed from the religion, private property, the proletariat by being a universal class of engine would also like liberate itself in the human society, and the relation of production in reality would also be the class relation. So we can see that in every society there are two classes, the rich and the poor, and they owned the means of production and the other was sold its labor. So during like the different historical phases, we can see there are two classes which had like a different names, but they enjoyed the different legal statuses and privileges, but one was common, and in the courses of these phrases that their relationship had been like the exploitation and the based on the exploitation and domination. So now Marx also objected to the idea of middle class historians, and the class struggle had ended to the rise of bourgeois, and they just opposed the perception of the classical economists that the capitalism was eternal and immutable. He harassed the rising consciousness of the power in the industrial proletariat and emphasized on the desire to bring on the economic equality that kept the class and revolutionary change alive. So class for the Marx basically like symbolized on a very collective unity. In the same manner, we can talk about the nation in the Hegel's theory. So each class like produced its own ideas, beliefs, understanding, and it operated within a particular economic and social system in the society. So the individual was became very important over here within this with the respect to his membership with the class. So he determined his moral convictions, the aesthetic preferences, and every kind of reasoning that they gave. So the Marx over here, the ideology played a very pivotal role in controlling the oppressed, and they were the three main features of the class of the idea. The first that they depicted the existing order, and they entrenched these forces that was beyond like human control. Things were not very arbitrary, and they instituted in certain section of people for their own benefit. Second, the ideas were explained as how the existing order like benefited everyone in society, and the third, the ideas depicted the existing order as a very beneficial in a particular way in order to like promote the interest of the dominant and economic class, and like protect the class privilege, and the actual reality was hidden. So Marx basically described this actual reality which was hidden as the false consciousness of the workers. Now let's talk about the analysis of capitalism. So we can see that Marx defined the capitalism based on two factors. First, the use of labor, wage labor. So in Capital, he pointed out that the capitalism arises when the owners of the means of production and the subsistence basically meet in the market with the free laborer by selling his own labor power. So this is the like basis of capitalism was the wage labor, and the second defining characteristic he gave about the capitalism was the ownership of the private property of the means of production were given to only the some people, which were very distinct from the personal property like the household effects or the home. So the ownership of means of production were basically like a very crucial feature in the capitalism, because it was like restricted only to the few. Those who did not own any were basically like forced to sell their own labor and they became the wage laborers. So in his critique of Gotha program, he also said that the Marx implied that even if a state like owned the means of production, the wage labor would still like continue, because this is not the real socialism but a new variation in capitalism, that is like known as the state capitalism. So many critics like often argued that the former like Soviet Union were not true, because the socialist states were like tyrannous in form of the state capitalism. So in Communist Manifesto in 1848, the Marx also like played a very handsome tributes to the bourgeois while highlighting their negative sides. He gave three reasons that made capitalists like very attractive. The first, that it becomes very remarkable economic progress for like revolutionize of the means of production and developing a technology as no one has seen before. It built and encouraged the growth of commerce and factories on base of scale that was very unknown before. It also like constituted the cooperative, the social production also. So we can see there was like a very high range and extent of activity that capitalism made its very second contribution. So it undermined all the national barriers we can see, and it was also in search for the market for the raw materials. The capitalism and the bourgeois like crossed the national boundaries and penetrated in every corner of the world. So basically like drawing on the most backward nation, and therefore the capitalism was based on cosmopolitan and international. So being a very worldwide, and the third achievement of capitalism was within the territories that confined. So it also like tried to eliminate the distinction between the town and the country, and it enabled the peasants to come out of what the Marx call as the advocacy of the rural life. So in order, if we like sum up, capitalism basically tries to revolutionize the techniques of the economic production, reducing the international barriers, created a urban civilization. So we can see there was a lot of achievement that was made by capitalism. So Marx also like contended that the capitalism had like outlived its uses because of suffering and hardship it caused. So it would also yield itself to a new social organization of production. Now let's talk about the alienation of workers. So basically to Marx we can say the labor has been too very satisfying and fulfilling, which was not just possible under capitalism, but the reason was the basically lack of control of worker over their productive forces. So the worker had like no voice, and they decide when and how and where to work was mainly based on obeyed on the boss commands. So this division of labor and specialization of skills were made as a worker a specialist, preventing his full development to his full list of all his talents, and therefore he's like stifling in his own potential. So therefore a laborer had like no control over his final product of the labor. So the nature became a productive process by dividing the workers and setting them against one another. So therefore there was no longer like conceived of their work as very great and collective human project, because moreover we can see that human beings were lost their ability to see their own products for what they were and where they were like willingly to enslaved by them. So this was what Marx meant by the commodity fetishism. So all this critique that rested upon was an implicit of the utopian premises, and the individual were fully human only when they develop and express their own potential through the satisfying labor. Linked their premise to the second remarkable assumption, that is a modern industrial system could afford the opportunities for all to engage in the rewarding labor. So in the socialist utopia, we can see that division of labor would also be abolished by ending the alienation and the monotony. Now let's give assessment. Now let's assess the Marx prediction. So we can see that Marx analysis of capitalism basically led to a prediction of the following. First, that the income gap between the capitalist and worker would also increase. More and more independent workers would be forced down into proletariat and leaving a very few rich capitalists and the mass poor workers. Second, that the worker wages with a very short-lived expectation would still remain at a very substances level. Third, the rate of profit would fall. Fourth, the capitalism would collapse after its internal contradiction. And fifth, we have that the proletarian revolution would occur because the most industrialist advanced society, because they would occur in the most industrial advanced countries. So like many of these assumptions that he made, the prediction did not also like come true, as because Marx like failed to take in account with the changes within the capitalism. He did not anticipate or comprehend its tremendous resilience. So by the 19th century, we can see the capitalism like stabilize itself, and the historical developments did not validate because many of the Marx observation which became very obsolete in the 20th century. Now let's talk about the analysis of state that was given by Marx. So Marx critically like dissected the Hegelian theory of modern state by the institution of the critique of Hegel's philosophy of right in 1843. And Hegel's separation of civil society and the state was also prevalent in the perception of a particular historical context, and the state was not just eternal, but it would eventually disappear at some point of time. So Marx is also critical as Hegel's analysis of theory, because the state was not, as Hegel described, a march of a god on earth, but it was an instrument of dominant economic class exploitation and oppressing the other sections of society. So Marx basically rejected the dichotomy between the civil society and the state in the Hegelian philosophy, and he concluded that the state of the bureaucracy did not just represent the universal interest. So Marx regarded the state very like in terms of regardless of the forms of government as an evil, because it was product of a society with a very accountable class struggle, and it belonged to the realm of the superstructure as it was the condition and determined by its economic base. So in the course of history, we can see that each mode of production would give rise to their own specific political organization, which would further mean to give the interest in terms of the economical dominant class. So for Marx and Hegel, they expressed that the state was a human was expressed in terms of human alienation, because it was an instrument of class exploitation and class operation, and it was basically the economical dominant class that exploited and oppressed the economically weaker section of the society. So the state became an apparatus for serving the ruling class only, but it acquired independence and became a very autonomous position over there. So when there was like advisory of classes wherein there was a proper state of temporary equilibrium, so this phenomenon was described by the Bonapartism, in a situation where the dictator with the help of support of the state apparatus became its guardian. Now let's talk about the future society. As we know, the Marx and Engels in the communist society eliminated all forms of alienation and human individual from the nature, from society and humanity. It did not merely mean for the consumption of satisfaction, but abolition like all form of this estrangement and liberation of human forces. So this institution of private property and division of labor was identified as a source of alienation that would be destroyed as a prerequisite for the new and orderly human phase in history. So Marx and Engel view the proletariat as an agent and not as a tool in the history. With the proper liberation will come, and there would be liberation of society. So the transitional phase, the phase with destruction of the bourgeois state and the inauguration of a communist society, was basically symbolized on dictatorship and proletariat that was generated on the great deal of controversy in the Marxist political theory. And any discussion of the future would also like smack the philosophical idealism, would also like to the amount of the description to an object that existed in the consciousness of thinking subject. So we can say moreover here, he did not just want to like revile those socialists whom he branded as a utopian, but he like constructed a very like detailed blueprints of communist society that would be determined by a specific condition, but under which it was established. Now let's talk about the dictatorship of proletariat. So there was a very controversial and ambiguous concept of dictatorship that emerged in the writing of Marx and Engels as a debate between the German social democrats, the anarchists, as a practical experience of Paris Commune in 1871. So the observation had to be like put together in the remarks that were solely made from different sources, and the two major texts were used: the Civil War and the Critique of God program. So there was a concept of the dictatorship of proletariat was a held key to understand the Marxist theory on the nature of communist society and the role that would play for a proletarian state. And its concept was also like divided the Marxists and Leninists from the anarchists on the one hand and the social democrats on the other. Now let's talk about the women and the gender question. So like many other areas we can see, which is often regard the question of women, Marx also made Hegel's starting point that Hegel regarded women as very inferior sex, and by and the ability of less reasoning, seeing natural differences between the men and women was immutable. Marx did not played a very significant approach towards the role of women and position of society. But he took it for granted that the socialism would bring emancipation for the women. So in the German ideology and capital, he spoke about the natural, spontaneous, and the division of labor within the family. And the natural relation also paved up the social one, and the first the property rights, and the second the man regarded his wife and children as his slaves. Then the man had a power over them and could do this labor as he chose, because Marx did not explain how it actually comes. But he did not focus on the attention of role and position of women in the society. So Engels in his oration provide a very materialistic amount of origin of patriarchy that was linked to the subordination with the rise of the private property. And in the Holy like family and the Marx also, Engels observed that degree of emancipation could be used to give the standard and one could measure the general emancipation. And the Marx warned against the treating the family regardless of specific historical setting, and the criticism makes by Marx also that he observed the misconception to speak to family without any qualification. Now let's conclude our presentation. First, that Marx was very revolutionary and socialist, and above all he was a humanist, and he believed there was a general emancipation and liberation of human beings. And he made many predictions that was not materialized, but it was a Marx was still a genius, and he was merely ability to predict and the new modes of thinking in economic and political issues. So even the Weber also criticized in his Protestant ethics the spirit of capitalism also, and Weber points out the ideas and economic motives were interest, and the material with the idea interest are incomplete. So ideas without material interest were also important. So all the criticism was given by a lot of scholars.